Jess.
Howdy, brothers.
Welcome back to another episode of Whiskey and Water.
I'm your co-host, Jess.
And I am your co-host, Liv.
And we are back at it once again.
With another incredible guest, an incredible episode.
We have the sweetest angel on, Emily DiDonato. She is
You've probably seen her on TikTok if you're on the app.
Or on any of her many campaigns that she has modeled for
on Maybelline or literally catwalks. Like
anywhere. She's a powerhouse.
Anywhere and everywhere.
She's also the founder of Cubby Skin, which is an amazing skincare line. We definitely encourage you to check that out. And she's also a new mother.
Yes, but we really, really enjoyed this conversation because we have a very similar path. I mean, other than us not being supermodels.
Yeah, just that little detail.
Can't relate on that. But, you know, starting as models and then becoming like influencers and content creators and then becoming founders. So it's a really great conversation. We were just saying it kind of just felt like we were on FaceTime with our bestie.
Yes.
So super fun, super excited. I'm like, it's one of those guests that I'm like, oh, I'm so proud that we can like have her
this
on.
platform.
Like it's so cool and such a good conversation. So you guys are going to absolutely love it. If we have anyone here that's new from TikTok, hey brothers, welcome to Whiskey and Water Podcast. We've had a few videos, you know, may or may not have blown up.
Popping up.
Getting on the right side of the algorithm. You love to see it. But yeah, we talk about female entrepreneurship and women in business, and welcome home.
And we keep it real.
And we keep it real. And we say hell yeah, brother a lot. So that's why we call our listeners the brothers. Okay, before we get into our conversation, we're going to do two segments that we do every episode. We're going to do our high and low of the week and then a deep dive into one of our collaborations or partnerships.
All right. We start off with lows, right?
We start off with lows because we like to end on a good note.
Yeah, I always forget. You go with your low first.
Okay, my low is how Jess and I went to the gym a few days ago and we really didn't do a lot at all, pretty much. We did the bare minimum. And
it was like maybe a fraction of my normal workouts.
But I also haven't worked out in a month because
just giving the people an idea.
Y'all know what my month has looked like, right? So it sucks because I was like on track. I was at least maintaining my body, so I would work out once, maybe twice a week, more like once a week. But it was to the point where I could work out without getting sore, and that is tossed out the window. I am in excruciating pain. Not to be dramatic, but
she's been like wincing every time she sits down.
I'm not doing well. I
cannot.
It's not good. So that's my low. And another low is that we're gonna have to pay taxes soon, and I hate that. So
there's that.
What are your lows, brother?
My low is that I have once again placed my faith in the hands of men, and once again have been severely let down. I mean, are we surprised?
Why do we do this?
Why? No.
Why do you do this? Why are you like this?
Me?
Why do you trust men? Men can't be trusted. We know this.
I know. Honestly, it's my fault.
Did you like my TikTok? Is that funny?
It was hilarious. She made a TikTok. It just, funny about me not blocking the men that I should be.
Did you delete his number and block him like I told you to?
And she's like, I'm just like dancing in the background. Yeah. So that's pretty much,
where she's at,
where I'm at. And it sucks because, it's just like, this is someone that I was friends with for a lot of years, and they pretty much stood me up and left me hanging.
One of her hoes is just not coming correct.
Yeah, it just came very incorrect. So that was my low, and I was really sad about it. And it sucks because, when someone's been in your life, in some sort of capacity for so long, and you really finally have to make that decision to cut them off, it's like, it just hurts. It sucks. And I've been friends with this person for, 3 or 4 years now.
And it's so like confusing when you feel like you have such a strong connection with someone and then they treat you in a way that makes it apparent that it was not what you thought it was.
Exactly. And it's like, damn.
Yeah. You're like, am I a bad judger of character? Or well, what's going on here?
But Olivia read the text and she said that I was gaslit. So here we are.
She was. Period.
He's blocked. Sorry.
You were 100% gaslit. So yeah, that's your low. And then shall we do highs?
Yeah.
We love a good high, you guys.
Let me do mine first.
Okay.
Because yours is better.
Okay.
I can't. We can't end on mine. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So my high. I was in LA for the past week, and I genuinely had so much fun. I was just running around, being a hoodlum,
being a degenerate.
Yeah, and it just like felt so good.
Your villain era.
I was even like working, I was getting shit done, but I was just like really enjoying my time and like hanging out with my friends and just, I don't know, I felt like really present, and it was surprising because
soaking up life.
Yeah, I really was, and like I felt like last few times I've been to LA, I kind of just like hated it, but I really had like a positive experience with like really good friends, so it kind of like warmed me back up to LA, and I don't know, I could see myself going back a few more times this year.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was kind of the high. Also, we had such a fun shoot today.
Yes.
Which we're going to be bringing to the Whiskey and Water socials and Mood, the agency. If you guys don't already follow our creative agency, Mood, please go give it a follow. And yeah, we just had a really great shoot today.
Yeah, we've been due for like a new content shoot. Like we're thinking we can do like at least once a year. Like we did
for our personal like partnership, if that makes sense. Not like just like a shoot for like anything.
Yeah, for our business. Yeah, because we did, that last one with our friend Fro, and it was so dope. And that's kind of the content that we used to launch Mood and also the rebranding of Whiskey and Water.
Yeah.
So we were due for another shoot, and it was like business themed. We were like really cute outfits and all like neutral tones.
We brought so many cute like props. We had Taylor taking all the BTS. We had our friend Ashley shooting it, and then we had our friend Lake doing video.
Like our favorite creatives. It's just so fun to get together and create together.
Yeah. And I was just really happy with like the styling, with the location.
And we like busted it out in 2 days. Like we decided Tuesday, we're like, well, let's do this shoot. But Ashley's the only day she could do is Friday. We're like, fuck it, let's do it Friday. And just fucking made it happen. Love it. You love to see it.
So that was the other high.
Yeah, I love that. And I also love what you said about LA, because we definitely have had such a bad taste in our mouth about LA for the past few years. And I feel like I can associate that with like, I feel like you're just hanging out with the right people now.
I am.
And like when we go out there, we'll hang out with the right people. That's so important, because that's like everything into what makes your experience somewhere, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
Like when I was there, it's just like drama and shallow shit. And I was like, I don't fucking like it here.
Oh my God, we were definitely hanging around the wrong people, because like these are people that like when you sat down at the table, they'd be like, what's your like, I swear to God, you think that like this shit happens in like movies?
Not when she went, like when we were going back
like
in the day.
Yeah, back in the day.
Before you even introduced yourself to someone, they were asking what your Instagram was.
Yeah. And they'd be like, you better follow me back. And I was like,
I don't even know you.
I'm like, what am I doing here? Like, this is not for me. And we're not modeling out there anymore. We're just creating. So like I got to like shoot in Malibu. My friend Shane shot me, and then I shot my friend Kate, and like the images were just so stunning, and like just so good.
I'm glad. Because we are actually planning a trip to go out there next month, I think, for this cute little business expo. We're gonna go be,
businesswomen.
We're gonna go be entrepreneurs. Ooh. Okay, yeah, we have to get on that too.
We do.
But okay, guys,
your high.
My high is that my loan for the house. One, we negotiated on a fair price between us and the seller. So that was like the first next step. And then the second next step was our loan was officially like underwritten and formally approved. So we're getting a new house. It's happening. And I've been so scared to say that because I don't want to jinx it. And like Tyler is still like, I don't want to celebrate until we close, which is the 16th. But I love how you know that. She's 16. But it's fucking happening. We're getting a house. We're getting our second property. We're keeping the duplex. We're going to keep it as a rental property. And I'm just so glad this day is finally here, because for the past year I've been so torn up about like keeping the duplex, selling duplex, moving out, finding a place, not finding a place, wanting to buy a house, but then like the market's so crazy. So I'm just so like it's finally
a relief.
It's such a weight off my back. Like, okay, this can be checked off. It's a 2-1. It's super cute. It's a fixer upper. So very excited about that. We would move in beginning of April, and I just can't wait. I love a good change, and I'm excited to purge before I move. And
I'm excited for the home goods runs and
and a housewarming. Because I never did a housewarming for the duplex.
I know. I'm excited for you to have a yard. Nice little driveway.
Good things.
It's just
carport. You guys will see all about it on my YouTube. But another high is that a few of our videos have gone viral, and we love that for us.
We do love that for us.
We're getting so many applicants for Mood, which is so funny.
We have like We have over 100 right now.
It's crazy.
We have over 100 applicants for our social media manager position.
We made like a random TikTok talking about how we're hiring for this position and like whatever. And it's like starting to just blow up. And our inbox is just flooded with applicants. You love to see it.
Love to see it.
You love to see it. Okay.
And really good applicants from like all over the place. It's bringing a lot of attention to mood, which is great. So this is like what we wanted for it, and it's happening.
Yes, we manifested.
And we did this shoot today, so it's just
all aligning.
All the good things are happening.
All aligning. And okay, so that wraps up our high and low. We're going to go into our deep dive. Once a week, we go into a partnership. We talk about how we got it, what the deliverables are, and our rates for it, because we believe in transparency.
We believe in rate transparency in the industry. Influencer industry.
Influencer transparency. Okay, so you want to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay, go.
Okay, guys, this is another high of mine from the last week that I just didn't want to share because I wanted to just save it for the deep dive. But I just locked in my biggest partnership to date.
Period.
With a brand that I love. I actually talked about them, I think, a couple weeks ago. But it's Muscle Tech. They're like the protein powders, and I genuinely use them every single day. And I locked in an $11,000 deal.
Period.
And I cried. I cried on the plane.
Okay,
on the way to LA.
How did you get the deal?
I got the deal through my manager, who I've always worked with, which is funny because I think I spoke about this before. Like, they had reached out to me directly, but I was like, like he had gotten me the deal. Let me continue through him.
Smart girl.
And it paid off.
He came through.
It came through. And of course, I do have to give him 20%. So at the end of the day, my take home is around like $9,000
before taxes.
Don't talk about that.
What are those?
Exactly. So I'm just really fucking stoked. Just so incredibly grateful that like what? Like $11,000? That's insane.
It's like life-changing.
And the collaboration details are...
Yeah, what are the deliverables?
1 reel and 2 static posts. And...
Easy.
Oh my God.
Easy. And it's so aligned with the content you're already creating and the content that you want to create.
It's insane.
It could not align more.
I'm
it's
just
not
so grateful.
It's not like a random brand that you have to go out of your way to create content for. It's like so aligned.
It's so aligned. I genuinely, I can speak about their products so organically, genuinely talk about how it has improved my life and just my fitness goals. And honestly, guys, I wish I had a code to share with you guys. I don't. But 10/10 recommend their products.
So good.
I love them.
Amazing. Yeah. We love $11,000 fucking brand deals.
I know, insane.
Are you kidding me?
I was so grateful. I was I literally bought Wi-Fi on the plane and was texting Olivia, and I was like, bro, I'm literally crying on this plane right now.
Wild. It's just wild. It really is.
What a blessing.
On God. Okay.
On God.
So my deep dive for this week is an exciting one too. I'm working with the jewelry company Tous.
Tous.
Is that how you pronounce it?
Tous. I think it's
Tous. Okay, Tous. Anyways, they're really popular. I just have always known about them. It's similar to a Pandora, but I feel maybe a little
bit
nicer.
Elevated.
Yeah. So basically, I pitched to them last year, and we were talking about it, but we never locked anything in. They came around this year, and they were like, "Hey, we're planning our budget for this year. We'd love for you to send us your quotes for..." They asked for a 1-month campaign, a 3-month campaign, and a 9-month campaign because it would start later. So I gave them quotes for everything. I broke it down for them. For the 9-month one, I quoted them $13,000, and I was like, fingers crossed, let's see, which is the highest quote I've ever given anyone. But they said that they it's cool because they're like, hey, we sat down with HQ today, and they would love to move forward with you. So it's so cool that you're
probably in a presentation in their headquarters.
It's so cool. So they're they'd love to for the meantime, they'd love to move forward with a 1-month campaign. So I'm like, okay, fucking awesome. And I quoted them with my new rates because if you guys listened to last week's episode,
we updated our rates
thanks to TikTok transparency on TikTok and seeing
our friend Kristen and just the other guests that we've had on.
Yeah, being y'all need to raise your rates. So we have, and I quoted them with those rates. So the deliverables are 1 reel and 1 story, and I'm getting $2,100.
Which is, just to remind you guys, she has 40,000 Instagram followers. That's crazy.
Crazy because I was charging $500 for a post. Now I'm charging $1,000, and for a reel I'm charging $1,500. it's just crazy.
Yeah, wild.
Like
it's
we're
wild.
literally doubling our income.
The influencer industry is really similar to the real estate market right now, in which they are both inflated as fuck.
Like booming.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So business is booming, y'all.
We're going to ride this wave as long as we can, honestly.
Yes, we are.
Not that we think it's going anywhere.
Super excited about that. You know, we've been manifesting abundance this year. We've been saying money. And I feel like it's fucking working. Mm-hmm. We've also been saying like, I'm open to receiving miracles. I wrote that down for the first time ever after we recorded our episode last week. I wrote it for the first time ever in my journal. And then that is the day that we got like word that our loan was officially approved.
Insane.
So, you know,
the universe works in mysterious ways.
Put the good stuff out there, you guys. We're manifesting all the abundance for you guys. We love you so much. Mm-hmm. And we've been seeing you guys come up on like our TikTok comments and stuff. So it means the world to us.
Truly.
But we won't hold you any longer. Let's get into this episode. You guys are gonna love it.
If you guys have loved this thus far, please take a screenshot, share it to your story, let us know you're listening, tag us, tag Emily. We would so appreciate it. And
also just word of mouth is everything. Send this to 3 friends that you think would love listening to us chit chat every week.
We could not ask for anything more, honestly.
Yeah, it would mean the world because we're so passionate about this podcast and keeping it going, and your support means everything to us. So
thanks, brothers.
Yeah, we love you guys. See you on the other side. All right, guys, we have Emily on the call, the line, the Whiskey and Water podcast studio with us. We are so excited to have you on. We are like low-key fangirling because we know you on TikTok, and we're just so excited to finally have you on and really dive into your story. But to get started, for our audience members who don't already know you, tell them a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. It's so nice to be on here. I'm so excited. So my name is Emily. I've been a model for over 10 years, primarily in the beauty space. I feel like most people know me from my commercials with Maybelline. And then I was the face of a very popular fragrance, this Armani Acqua di Gioia fragrance. And I've done a lot in, cosmetics and skincare, and then a bunch in fashion as well. And then over the last couple of years, I feel like I focused quite a bit more on content creation. So Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, influencing on all the things. And then just recently launched my own skincare brand almost a year ago now called Cubby. So model, content creator, founder, all those things.
Amazing. We love a woman who does it all. And mother, congratulations.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Thank you for reminding me. And I just gave birth 8 weeks ago.
No big deal.
Total powerhouse. And we love to see it. Thank you for that, little snippet into your life.
There's so much to dive into. Where do we start?
We're going to dive into all of it. But let's kind of start, I guess your modeling journey was probably like, your first step into like this entrepreneurial world. So give us a little bit of background on, like what stepping into the modeling world kind of looked like for you.
Yeah. I mean, I started modeling when I was 17 years old. So I was a junior in high school, and I was traveling and working, then, which was kind of crazy stepping into that world. It was so exciting and like very glamorous, but it quickly became like, I got really lucky that things picked up very quickly for me. Like I started working with Maybelline very early on. I got a cosmetics contract very early on, and, things were going well right away, which doesn't always happen, I feel like, for a lot of models. So I got really lucky in that sense. And then I moved to the city shortly after that, after I graduated high school, and it was busy and hectic. I think, it was good in the sense I started working so young because my work ethic, like that started so early on for me. Like I was always like on time, like driven, like wanted to get like to be the best that I could be, which was great. While all of my friends were like in college, like raging their faces off. So it was a very like different path than a lot of my friends took, but like the right one for me. But I think modeling, the best thing that's come from it for me is like financial stability, and it's allowed me to meet so many wonderful and creative people and give me exposure to all of these different people and industries. But it definitely came with its own ups and downs. It's certainly a tough industry, but it's been good. I don't even know if that answered your question.
Yes, it does. No, so good. And I love what you said about starting modeling at a young age, because I can relate to that too. I started when I was 9. And what I always say is that like, I learned how to be professional at such a young age, you know, and how to take direction. And like you said, like the work ethic, it's so great. So that's definitely something that like I'm always trying to encourage when I see people with like cute kids. I'm like, it's really great. Like it's a great discipline in a way, you know?
It definitely is.
Hi.
You learn how to work and deal with all sorts of people from like all different backgrounds at a very young age. And yes, you're expected to act like an adult no matter what age you are. So I remember that very early on, like stepping into that.
Yeah. And not to mention having your appearance like completely, you know, picked apart and just kind of having to accept that as part of the position, especially from a very young age. You know, like we're so impressionable at these times, and you know, we all know it. Someone can say one thing and it sticks with you for the rest of your life. So you really have to have a thick skin, which I'm sure kind of prepared you for, you know, this path into entrepreneurship.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely gave me a thick, tough skin for sure. But like, yeah, like you said, and you know, it's an industry where people don't hold back, especially when I started 10 years ago. People were not afraid to be like, you don't look good today, you gained weight, like, or, you know, your skin looks bad. Like people just say it like it is. So thick skin, but it definitely created like this inner dialogue within me that I still struggle with today in a way. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't think like that anymore. I'm not 17, like walking into a casting. I'm a almost 31-year-old woman who's a mom. Like I got to get it together. So
I love that you said that too, because it is like those things that really stick with you. And in a sense, it's like you just have to work on healing your inner child, but no matter how old you get, it's like those things at that age like really do like just stick with you, especially if you're not like doing the work to move forward from it. Yeah, I love that. I also really can appreciate how, because we have a very similar path where we, you know, started as models and then kind of moved into like the influencer content creation space as it kind of grew. And we always try to convince our model friends, we're like, you already have half the battle down, like being comfortable in front of the camera, you know? Now you just have to like learn the space and, you know, the techniques of content creation. But I really love that is that something that came naturally to you, or did you see the opportunity and then you went for it? Or were you just like kind of posting your modeling portfolio and then turned into an influencer? How did that work?
I think it kind of came naturally to me in the sense that like when Instagram came out many moons ago, I was like on there right away posting like my sepia tone selfies and being like, I love this. This is so fun. Like everyone else was like, ew, selfies. And I was like, what's wrong with it? I like it.
Yeah.
So I kind of leaned into like the apps, like Instagram pretty early on. But when it came to taking it more seriously, which I would say would be like 5-6 years ago now, I think I had just reached a point in my modeling career where I honestly felt kind of bored. Like I was like, the industry was changing and I saw it shifting. And I went from a point where like was walking in fashion shows and seeing editors sit front row and then seeing influencers sit front row and then seeing influencers get like jobs that I wish I was getting. And I remember looking at them and being like, I could do that, which I try to have that mentality whenever I see someone that I like maybe feel slightly jealous. I'm like, wait, I could do that too if I really wanted to. And I think it started with like my YouTube channel. I was like, you know what, I'm just going to lean into this. I don't know exactly what it's going to be or what it's going to look like, but I want to try to take it seriously and post once a week for a year, see how it goes. And I just fell in love with it. And honestly, now I work for some of the same brands. Like I do brand deals with companies that I used to model for, except I like shoot the content from my bathroom at my house. And I'm like,
and you're probably making like almost the same amount of money,
if not
which is
more.
Exactly.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Like I used to spend a whole day on a set, do a fitting, then go to a photo shoot, be there for 12 hours.
Callback.
Like, and now it's just like, yeah, you can just shoot. Here are the clothes are being sent to you. And like, you can shoot it in your bathroom and just like send it. And sometimes I send like the first edit and they're like, perfect. I'm like, what?
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Wild.
Once we realized that we could make from one post what we make in a day long shoot, we were like,
a 12-hour
never
day.
Never going back. It's crazy. It's just the most wild industry that we get to be a part of now.
Totally. Like I just recently got asked to come to a fashion show for New York Fashion Week, which is coming up. And normally I would be gearing up to like try to walk in a show, but now this brand wants me to just come and create content and create a TikTok for them. And I'm like, that's so weird, but the answer is yes. I will ask because it's more fun too. And I'm sure you guys can appreciate that. Like modeling looks glamorous, and it can be, but it's not always the most engaging, if that's the right word.
100%.
Engaging, or even
fulfilling.
It can also just be very fulfilling. Like taxing on the body to be like, you know, we used to walk Miami Swim Week, and then we started getting invited to Miami Swim Week as influencers to sit front row, and we were like, wait, this is so much nicer.
Better. And it's so much more fun.
Well, we leave with a goodie bag, and we don't have a face caked on of makeup, you know what I mean? And we were like, this is great.
And you don't have the pressure of, you know, like being a model.
Mm-hmm.
It's so interesting, but it's like, it's interesting because we get to engage in like the same types of activities and events, right? But just like in a different
capacity.
way.
Yeah.
And in a more creative way too, because you have like creative freedom.
Absolutely. Like I love the creative side of it. And I surprised myself when I started creating my own content more, especially for YouTube, because I loved the post-production side of things. I love editing, and I love actually love pre and post. I love organizing things, getting them together, getting the right people. And I love the post-production side of things. I actually don't like when I'm in the moment, like in front of the camera, which is what I've been doing for years. I like everything around it though. But that's really what got me hooked and like kept me going, because I enjoyed that so much. I really surprised myself.
I love that. Cool. And it was, you know, it allows you to be so much more like inspired and passionate about what you're doing, you know, and it just results in, you know, a happier lifestyle and a better end product for everyone involved.
Absolutely. That was the case for me for sure. But then sometimes I look back at my modeling days and I'm like, oh, like modeling days. I mean, I whatever, but I'm like, oh, and I'm like, no, I like this better.
I know. I do this. I mean, we all do the same, you know, looking back and you're like, oh, that campaign was so nice. But then you're like, but then I remember how fucking cold I was that day. You know what I mean?
Literally.
It's the ups and downs. There's pros and cons to it all, honestly.
Exactly.
What advice would you give to girls who maybe are in that like kind of in between phase of you know, being in the modeling world but trying, because I can like think of 20 girls off the top of my head just that we know who are like models and killing it as models but don't really know like how to tap into the other side or where to start or what to do. What would be your insight for that?
Even I think a lot of people also don't realize how lucrative it can be as well, you know, like they feel like they should just stick to modeling.
Yeah, I think like when it comes to content creation, I think the only difference between like us and maybe someone who's only modeling but wishes that they were creating content is like we're hitting record. Like I'm hitting record when I'm at a fashion show, or I'm hitting a record behind the scenes, or I'm hitting record when I'm making my morning breakfast. Like, and in those moments, sometimes I don't want to be doing that, but I'm always happy that I did, because then I share my like lame, what feels lame to me, like breakfast bowl or smoothie. And people are like, I love this. Give me more, do this. So it's like in any moment where you're like, no one's going to care about this. No, actually like they will. You just have to remind yourself to like hit record, get out your phone, be that girl, but it pays off in the end. And I think it's kind of, you do have to force yourself. Like being an influencer, we can say that it has some parts of it are easier than modeling, but at the end of the day, like it is a job and you have to look at it as such and make sure that you're putting in the effort to like consistently put out content. So creating small goals. Like I remember there are times I still do this to myself. I'm like, I'm going to post at least 5 stories today. Like I go through dry spells where I'm like not posting at all. And I'm like, nope, I got to do 5 stories today and like 1 YouTube video this month. And like, that's the goal, but trying to like be consistent with yourself.
Yeah. And I think for a lot of people, they're worried about coming off as cringy or at, you know, like, and ultimately that is just being scared of other people's judgment. What would be your advice for that? Because I feel like I'm constantly telling people like, no, it's not cringy. What's cringy is missing out on freaking money. Like, what are you doing?
Totally. I still get that fear myself, especially on TikTok, because TikTok is like such a different beast.
You don't know what side you're going to end up on.
Exactly. But what I do think about TikTok and all of your content is that it will land in the right place, in a sense that the right people who will enjoy that type of content will find it, but they won't be able to find you unless you put it out there.
Right.
So true.
It's like you kind of just have to take the leap of faith and put it out there and let your people find you. Like they won't be able to find you otherwise. That kind of doesn't make sense, but it kind of does.
No, it does.
No, 100%. I get it.
Because what you're doing is like you're boxing yourself in, you know, like you're worried about like, you know, the judgment that might happen, but you're not like seeing past that into like all the opportunity that it could bring you, like such an incredible community and like opportunities. And, you know, you really just have to pull the trigger and put it out there.
Exactly. It is taking like a leap of faith though. It's definitely like a vulnerable thing. But I think especially with the rise of TikTok, we realize that like there is a lid for every pot, as my mom says. Like your content will find a place to be and to live. Like I was just watching the most ridiculous parody TikTok of like a guy who works in marketing, and like it was just so funny. And I'm like, this could only live and breathe on TikTok, and I am dying. And it found me, and like, you know, it's just
you're like, thank God I ended up here. No, exactly. It's so true. I appreciate that you said that, because we are constantly preaching to people the power of TikTok and how you literally like the most random thing or hobby or niche that you're into, there's a place for it on TikTok, and there is a whole community for it. It could not be more specific sometimes. And go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I feel like TikTok has made me learn that like I've never had an original thought or interest in my life. Like, and you have to remember that. Like if you're interested in like some niche random thing or show or memory that you had, like someone else has it too.
I know. And then you look at the comment section and it's all like, oh my God, I thought I was the only one. And you're like, wow, we're really all the same person.
Yeah.
And I really love what you said about, you know, just hitting the record button, like doing what you normally do, but just documenting it. And it sounds like so silly, but especially, you know, talking about like a platform like TikTok, everything you do is like content worthy. Like getting your nails done is content worthy. Like just cooking, washing your hands, like every single thing you're doing, like it is worthy of content. You know, like when we first started as influencers, it was kind of like, you know, we only showed off like the photo shoots and the modeling and the makeup and like the glamorous things. But now it's like such a different landscape where the most normal, mundane things, if you are recording it and it, you know, recording it the right way, and even sometimes recording it not the right way,
and putting a nice sound, and it's just romanticized.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's like the nice part about it, is that we are romanticizing everyday mundane things
and like real life, you know.
I completely agree that like the most mundane things are interesting to other people, and it's what I find myself watching and being interested in as well. So like whenever that thought bubbles up where I'm like, who's going to care about this? Like even my stories yesterday, I was posting like I have really bad dry scalp, and I was like, I'm trying to find the right shampoo, and I'm like talking about my dry scalp, and my DMs went wild. People were like giving me suggestions. Please let me know what you find out, like going crazy. And I'm like, I did not see things going in this direction, but like people just want to hear about you and what you're going through and what's going on. And you have to believe that they do, because you're equally as interested in like the random people you stumble upon on the internet.
Exactly. And you'd be so surprised what will garner a response from your audience. Like I posted about like me getting gas the other day, and it just, my freaking DMs blew up, and they were like, oh my God, same, you know, like it's just so stupid. Like I was frustrated about like, you know, me pumping gas, and people were like, nope, that's like, I'm totally on board. And
I'm validating you.
Yeah, exactly. It was just, it's so funny. You really just got to share whatever.
And I think that like something that's also changed is that like people really appreciate realness, you know, like they appreciate the transparency. And especially I think coming from you, who is like, you know, top model, done Maybelline campaigns, like, you know, the highest of the high achievements, to be like, yeah, I have a really dry scalp and I need a solution. Anyone, like, you know, it's like humanizing yourself. And totally. I feel like people really can relate to that, because it's like we can get so caught up in all these accomplishments and, you know, awards and whatever, and the following, you know, and the verification. But it's like, no, everyone is just still dealing with the same shit.
Totally. And like just leaning into that is like the way to get going, because at the end of the day, and I'm sure you guys know this, you can post the most perfect, polished picture of yourself on Instagram, and those are never the ones that do well.
Right.
Not for me. It's like the modeling photos, I don't even post my modeling work actually, like ever, because no one cares. Like they want to see you, you know, and like what's going on with you, what you're interested in, where you're eating, you know, who you're with. So it's just important.
Yeah. And also I feel like that is what makes us want to tell everyone, like if you've thought about wanting to be an influencer or content creator, now is the time. Like we're not where we were 5 years ago, where you had to look perfect and beautiful and skinny to be able to do this. Like now is the time. Like people just want to see normal, everyday life, relatable content. So if you're listening to this and you've been thinking about it, fucking do it.
I know. And I think a lot of people think that like they missed the chance, but like that could be further from the truth. Like there is no better time than the present. But kind of moving on from that, I'm kind of curious as to like what inspired you to start Covey, and like how you're utilizing your platform has been in like launching that brand.
Yeah. So we started Covey, myself and my business partner, Christina. We started working on Covey over 4 years ago now. But basically, I had been a model for a really long time, loved beauty, loved skincare, would basically put anything anyone ever recommended to me on my face. My routine was ridiculously long and complicated, but my skin would still suffer. It was flaking and drying. I would go to work and makeup artists would be like, Emily, what are you doing now? Like, what is going on? And I just loved beauty, but I genuinely didn't know how to create a skincare routine. And that was something that myself and my best friend, Christina, really bonded over. We loved bonding over beauty. We talked about what we were doing and trying, but we were both like, we don't know what the heck we're doing. And then we did about, 2 years worth of research. We went on skincare communities on Reddit and on Twitter, and realized that there were 3 key questions people had about skincare, which were they didn't know which products they needed in their routine, they didn't know if they worked together, and they didn't know the order they were supposed to use them in. So that's what we really wanted to solve for, was creating a simple, effective skincare routine that was formulated to be used together, kind of taking the guesswork out of creating a skincare routine, and also kind of reinventing the 3-step skincare routine. That's been around for a while. People think of Proactive, they think of Clinique, but they're not made of high quality, clean ingredients that we all know and want today. So that's what inspired us to create the brand. And we partnered with a dermatologist, Dr. Julie Rusak, here in New York. And I really used my social profiles to collect so much data and so much information in terms of what questions people had, what they were curious about, what they felt confused about in terms of beauty and skincare. So that was such an informative and helpful tool in creating the brand, which is like partially the name. The name Cubby means a small flock of birds. And I loved that because I thought of my community, my group kind of on socials that helped us build the brand. But that's why we created it. And then, yes, I've been using my socials as much as possible to kind of leverage the brand. And yes, TikTok is going back to TikTok, huge in helping us like kind of market it. And it's always the most random things that kind of take off from there, and using my network and all of that. But it's definitely been an interesting journey launching it from social, because we're direct to consumer. So all that's been really important.
That's amazing. Well, congratulations, first of all, on launching that. That is incredible. And I love what you said about like kind of like simplifying it into like the 3 questions. And like, I was curious as to like what questions you were going to say. And honestly, though, I have those same 3 questions because I'm a skincare junkie. I have a million products. I love skincare, but I'm like slapping shit on my face and being like, are these supposed to go together?
I hope this works.
Like, can this go together? Am I using this at the right time of day? Like things like no one tells you. Like, they're just like, yeah, use this product. But you're like, can I use this with another product? Or am I going to burn my skin off? You know what I mean?
Which I've done.
Yeah, no, I mean, been there, done that, unfortunately. So I love that. But I would love to talk about how, you mentioned like TikTok has been really good for the business. Do you have like a strategy that you use for it? Or have you just been kind of, posting content that feels, authentic to you and seeing kind of what, garners attention?
Strategy for TikTok or strategy and content in general? Or both?
I guess both. Yeah. Just curious about that.
I mean, TikTok is interesting. We always see a lot of traffic whenever I talk about anything about the brand on my profile. And then for Cubby's TikTok, I think it's just a mix of like educational content, a mix of user-generated content, a mix of fun plays on trends that like we can loop our product into. Like I always, even from my own socials and for Cubby's, have these kind of like pillars or categories of like types of content. It's like even for Cubby's Instagram, it's like humorous content, educational content, user-generated content, informational, whatever it may be. So that's kind of always like how we work off of things. And then for my own personal, I'm definitely more just driven by like what inspires me, what makes me laugh in the moment. I kind of just take that as I go. Cool. But for a business, you kind of have to be a bit more structured about it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So, because especially like when someone lands on your page, you want them to be able to like clearly get a sense of the brand identity, what you guys are about, the ingredients, if that's important to you. That definitely makes sense. I want to ask a little bit about your decision to actually jump forward and like step up into this role to be the founder of a company. So like, was that like an aha moment? Was it like something that you guys were like kind of thinking about, talking about, and then like a year later decided to pull the trigger on? What did that look like for you? Because I feel like a lot of people, you know, they have this like dream, this vision to have their own brand and start their own company, but it takes years before they can actually pull the trigger into it.
Yeah, I would say it was more of like a let's do this right away thing. And the story is myself and my business partner, Christina, we were actually on a couple's vacation in Iceland and we had both brought like so many products. We had like massive things like this product and we were talking about what we were using. We were in a bar and we were chatting and like, I remember we were like, we should start our own brand. Like we should start our own. Like I think
love
we
that.
a really great job. She works in marketing at Google. And then I had been a model for a really long time. And I remember we both busted out like our notes app and started brainstorming right then and there. And we really dived
chills.
into like it really was like, we were like, let's do it. And we started our research there and then. And obviously it took so long though. It took us 3 years to actually launch the brand because we did so much research in terms of what people needed and then so much research on ingredients. Plus we tested the products on over 150 different people before we launched. So it was like a really long process, but when we knew we wanted to do it, we took action right away. I will say my business partner is definitely more of like the action orientated type A person. She's like, let's get the Google Doc out and get going. So that was great and helpful.
How do you feel like it's been like having a partner in all of this? Because I feel like a lot of people are either like, go for it, have like a partner that's like your best friend, or some people are like, stay away from that 100%. How has that experience been like for you?
I know it's funny. Someone said that to me the other day, like never go into business with your friend. I was like, too late. We're best friends. You know, I think that is maybe the case for friendships that if there is any gray area where you guys are not willing to talk about things and be clear, like, don't get me wrong. I mean, you guys will know this, like in a business, things come up, difficult conversations like need to be had. And if you guys can't look at each other and have those difficult conversations and then also be able to move on, like with your friendships and the business. But like we've had multiple moments like that. And we're just so good at being like, we're talking about the business right now and something that I think it should be this way and you think it should be that way. And like, how can we resolve this or, you know, get to a common ground? And then we like move on. And then we're like, okay, what else do we have to talk about like on our friendship agenda or like things that we want to say? But you do need to be willing to do that with that person. I think there's people even in my personal life who I know would not be able to like meet someone head on and be like, this is what I think, like I disagree, or it should be like this. You have to be able to do that and then move on.
Yeah, right. I love that. And I think that the fact that you guys had 3 years in the making for the business was probably the best thing for you because you were able to like find each other's like communication love languages and sort things out before you launch the brand. Because I feel like a lot of people like jump into things quickly and, you know, launch immediately. And then you notice that, you know, they kind of fall as quickly as they rose. And that's because they didn't realize that they couldn't, you know, work with this person long term. And you also just have to be super comfortable with having disagreements. Like it's not going to be sunshine and daisies all the time. And that's fine. That's life. And you just have to be able to like not take that personally. And if you guys, you know, have that in your, you know, work partnership balance, then, you know, you're solid. You're good to go.
So true. That's absolutely right.
Yeah, communication is truly everything. I mean, we know that obviously firsthand. I want to know a little bit about you know, your background is mostly modeling and then it was content creation. Was there any part of you that was like scared to be a business owner? And like, you know, did you start researching like business etiquette or any, you know, educational resource that you had or like I think a lot of people are like scared of like legal business stuff. Like they're like, oh, well, I don't know what type of contracts or if I have to have a patent on this or whatever it may be. So I want to know a little bit more on like the business side of it. Like, how did you navigate that?
Yeah, the first couple of years straight up, I would not speak on like any phone calls that Christina and I would be on because I had such bad imposter syndrome, even though like you don't go wake up one day and say, I'm going to be a founder now. Like you're like, I'm going to start this business. I have this idea. I'm super excited. But like stepping into that role did not come naturally to me, meaning like I just would always fall back and be like, I don't know, like I've been a model for a long time. I don't know how those things work. I don't know how packaging works. I don't know how marketing works. Like, even though I kind of do know, right? Like I always was like selling myself short. I continue to do that like to this day. And that was really, really hard for me. Luckily for like anything that was more like logistical or legal, that's where like having a partner is really nice. Someone who, you know, has strengths that you don't. We have such different strengths and categories and things that we're good at. So she would always be amazing at taking away and like stepping away and doing the things that I just didn't know how to do. But it absolutely was a challenge and still is sometimes, because sometimes I'll be like, I'm not sure. Like, I don't know, but that's okay. Like any founder you talk to is like, I never know what I'm doing. Same with motherhood. They're like, I don't know anything. I'm just like trying to figure it out. I'm like, cool, same.
Entrepreneurship is just having a figure it out mentality pretty much for the rest of your life.
Yes. Like exactly. Finding solutions, like however you can all the time.
You have to be solution oriented. Like, and I feel like that's another big thing in partnerships. And I think that just an issue a lot of people have in general is that like they'll present an issue, but not be like looking for the solution. And it definitely takes a mindset shift. I definitely did not have a solution mindset, you know, up until probably recently. And luckily I have a partner who is a solution mindset. But yeah, you definitely have to just almost like be an optimist and just like kind of just always look for the bright side of things and how you can improve and get out of things and, you know, whatever it may be.
And remove your ego from the situations, because so much conflict, like you can't be solution oriented and also be trying to like play the blame game. Like there's no, you have to realize that there's no point in trying to like that it is what it is. We're here now. How are we going to fix it? Like so there's really no, you know, it's good in a sense to reflect on like what could have been done better, or like, you know, what will change for next time. Like it's great to learn from things, but you never want to be sitting there trying to like point blame on people in like a negative way, you know?
Totally. And especially when you're partners, you want the same outcome, whatever is best for the business.
Exactly. And I think like knowing each other's intentions, we talk about intentions a lot, is huge. Was there any part of you that was, you know, the skincare market and industry specifically is probably one of the biggest industries in the world, right? Was there a part of you that was scared that it was oversaturated? Because I think that's also a very common thing that I hear. Oh, but so many people are doing it. You know, there's too many of these brands. It's an oversaturated market. Was that a thought in your mind?
It was definitely a thought in our mind, but when we launched the brand and when we came up with this idea, it was at a time, and it still is kind of this time, where people were doing 10, 12 steps in their routine, and skincare had become so complicated and like overwhelming for people. So we knew when we wanted to come out with a simple routine and something that was effective and very clear in terms of how to use it. You know, even the products are named in reference to the order they're supposed to be used in. We knew that people needed a routine like that based on our research as well. When we were in skincare addiction on Reddit and we were on Twitter, like those same 3 questions would continually pop up, which made us think like, it's a saturated market, but this routine is solving for some people's problems. And we know that this product will reach them. And that's exactly, you know, our customers in terms of like who buys Cubby. It's either people who are new to skincare, who are like, I have no idea how to do this. And like, this is perfect. Like check the box for me. Or it's people who are like, I love beauty. I'm obsessed with skincare, but I'm fried from it. I just need something simple. I'm trying to pare it back. And they love the product. So yeah, exactly. Which I need to get both of you the routine.
Yes.
And that was the other thing, was there were so many brands out there who would either launch with 1 product or like 20 products. And we were like, great, where does this fit into the routine, your picture? And we felt like we were one of the few brands who were coming out as a routine. This is the set, like a modernized version of like the 3-step routine. So we felt confident about it.
So good. Yeah. There was a gap in the market and you're coming in to solve that. I love that. So good.
And I also love that you took the time to do market research, because I feel like that is so underrated. And a lot of people don't want to like get their hands dirty and like actually, and it's great that you had the platform to kind of do those polls. But even what you're saying about going on Twitter and going on Reddit, like these resources are there, and you found answers to the gap in the market that you could fill just through Twitter and Reddit. You know, it's so simple.
It's amazing. Like the internet has everything. It is the World Wide Web for a reason. Like literally we would be on Twitter and just type in #skincare routine. and on Reddit. And then I would do polls on my Instagram or look at my comments. And I just had a folder on I remember my desktop of just screenshots of comments that I would screenshot and send. And I would send to Christina, this person's asking this, I'm seeing this question pop up a lot. And then of course, when I was creating YouTube videos, when we were getting ready to launch, I would ask questions while I was filming just to see what people would say and prompt them and kind of collect that data as we were like creating the brand over the years, which was beyond helpful.
Not to mention TikTok these days, if you're on like skincare TikTok or whatever niche that you're looking to kind of build a business in, it has all your answers. It's all right there. I mean, people will literally make hundreds of TikToks about like issues that they're having or, you know, gaps. It's a resource. There. It's just there.
It's such a resource. It's almost better than Google because, you know, you Google something and like, yeah, YouTube videos will pop up, which is helpful, but it's mostly like articles and the articles are probably sponsored, but you go on TikTok and it's like real people being like, I have a solution for this. This is how to do this. Here's like a pro tip.
I mean, there's TikToks that'll say like, can someone please make XYZ product? And it'll be viral. And it's like, someone can just make that fucking product and, you know, have it go viral, you know, like it's all there.
Even when I was car shopping, I like kept wanting to talk to people, but I didn't want to talk to a salesperson because I just didn't trust their intention. So I look on TikTok, car shopping tips, and it's like 5 things you should know before you go into a dealership. I'm like, I love it here.
Yeah.
It is like the modern day Google.
It is.
So
it's
true.
the best. Fitness, whatever. There's literally,
yeah, we could talk about TikTok all day.
We love TikTok.
Obviously love it. Do you have just you and your business partner as of now, or do you guys have a team? What does that look like?
So it's myself, my business partner, and then we have one full-time employee. Her name is Nell, and she is our chief growth officer. And then for everyone else, and we also have one associate who helps us kind of with customer service and everything in between. She's incredible. And then we use freelancers and agencies for everything else. And that's always plug and play. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You're learning as you go, which has been interesting and also a learning curve in itself.
Oh yeah, completely. Could not agree more.
And I'm sure I would love to talk about like making that first hire for full-time. Was that something, did you guys start her part-time and then she went full-time, or was it always full-time? And I'm kind of curious as to why her position is chief growth officer and kind of why that's like your main full-time position for her.
Yeah. So no, we went straight into hiring Nell full-time. We knew we needed like a third person to purely help with growth, which was like brand partnerships with influencers, helping us with PR and those relationships, helping us. She also helps us with our finances. Like she really is kind of like a jack of all trades. But the thing was, we knew that we wanted to grow the business and there was only so much that myself and Christina could do. Christina also still works full-time at Google.
Wow.
So honestly, we needed a third partner, which is what Nell is. And she does an incredible job just like helping us figure out different and creative ways to get the brand out there. She helps with all of our digital marketing. So she's incredible. But it took a really long time for us to hire her. I mean, I believe I posted it on my Instagram. We posted it on LinkedIn, and we also posted the job on a bunch of business school websites and like looking for people coming out of business school who could potentially fill the role. And I think Nell found us through LinkedIn, and we did a really long case study with her before we hired her and met her multiple times. It was like a very long process because at the end of the day, like I said, we wanted a partner, which is what she is. So.
Wow.
So
good.
good.
And what did that hiring process look like? We're just curious as like, you know, business owners ourselves. Hiring is probably like the scariest thing because, you know, you're investing your own dollars, your own time, you know, training them, bringing them on board just for it to like maybe not work out a couple months down the line. So you mentioned that you did a case study with her. I'm curious as to what that looked like.
Yeah. So first we had someone go through all of the resumes, one of our associates, all of the resumes and kind of pull out people that we thought were like the most relevant and then presented that to Christina and I. And then we kind of went through and started doing initial phone calls with people. And then we kind of landed on like 4 or 5 people who ended up doing the case study. And the case study was basically like, you know, really showing them what the brand is. We really gave everyone who we were considering hiring a peek into the brand, where things were at. Here's our Shopify information. And it's like, okay, what would you do today? You know, we want to hire an influencer for this product launch. What do we do? And she basically put together the most incredible deck. And that was just like one of the many questions. We actually had over like 10 questions on the case study. And it was also like, here are finances, like what are 3 things that you would do today to like grow the business? And like, people had very different ideas and thoughts in terms of what they did. Like some people were like, it's influencer marketing. Some people were like, you need PR, like just allowing people, giving them these open-ended questions that are absolutely relevant to your brand and can help you. Like even, you know, it was just beyond informative to like have an outside person look at your brand in that way and say like, this is what I would do. And you're like, oh, that's interesting. Like I wouldn't think about it like that. But having those like 10 to 12 open-ended questions and like having them people answer them was beyond helpful. And of course, it's like kind of like getting them to do their job before you hire them. What are their thoughts? What do they think? What are their ideas?
I love that.
And that's so good.
That's so validating for us because we're in the process of hiring a new social media manager. And we actually assigned them a task as well. We had them make a mock like story graphic set and then had them make, what was it?
Like a mood board.
A mood board for like a feed. And I don't know, we felt kind of weird about assigning that to some people.
Yeah, we were like, is this a weird thing to do?
We're like, is this too much to ask?
Right.
But at the end of the day, yeah, like we're investing into these people. And if they do want it, they'll go above and beyond. And that's the only kind of person that we need in this role.
Absolutely. And it's like, you could have hired her and she could say like, oh, he or she could be like, I don't know how to make graphics. You're like, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I would lose my mind.
So good. Yeah. That was really, really informative and helpful. Like, I love the idea of like a whole case study process. Like, that's so good. And it's good to know. I mean, granted, you're offering a full-time position with like, I'm sure a salary, a little different than what we're offering, but it's great to know that that's like an option and like a way to hire people and what that process is like.
To weed out like, you know, people who aren't really serious.
Aren't the best fit. Like that is such a diligent process, like you're doing your due diligence. You know that this girl is it. Like she's the best person possible for the position.
Absolutely, because we wanted whoever we hired to be as invested in the business as we are. We want them to know what they're going to get. We want them to know the work that they're going to do and want them to be excited about it. So it's like a perfect exercise for both sides.
So good. We definitely took a lot of notes.
Yeah, we did, honestly. So I'm curious, obviously, you know, you're very new to motherhood. Yay. I know. Congratulations again. But I'm really curious as to how that has been with, you know, also
your workload.
Yeah, your workload and what that's kind of looked like for you.
Yeah, honestly, it's kind of a hot mess. I was just with another friend of mine who's an influencer and also a mom, and we were talking about it. And she's like, yeah, it's going to be like that for a while. Like, it's hard because I try to carve out time for the things that I want to do. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it between this time and this time. But then sometimes like just so many things come up or she's crying or not napping or, you know, things happen. And, you know, I can't be as structured as I would like to be. And as I was, you know, months ago before I was pregnant, but also it's like, I was having this conversation actually with my therapist this morning because I was like, I have all these ideas. I have all these things I want to do, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, do you really want to do all of those things? Like, it sounds like some of those things you really don't know how to do yet. And they sound like it's going to be a lot more work and not the things you actually enjoy. Right. So my point in saying that is like, I think I have to be a little bit more thoughtful about what I do with my time, which at the end of the day is probably a good thing. But like, if I have the morning to like work or knock out emails or create content, like I really need to prioritize and figure out what are the most important things that are going to move the needle for like my personal brand, for Covey, like whatever it may be. So I've had to be a lot more thoughtful, but at the end of the day, it's like, you want to be able to do it all. I was like talking to my husband about it and he's like such a workhorse, so driven. He's like, you can do it all. Just plan. Like, you just got to plan everything. And I'm like, no, once you become a mom, like I'm like, you can't do everything and that's okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And that's okay. And I love that you said that because I can only imagine like, you know, your baby isn't running off your schedule. Like there's so many unexpected things that are going to come up. That's like, you can try to structure your day and then there's like just no point. But there's this saying that, you know, there's a difference between being productive and being busy. So I love that, like what your therapist said is like, do you actually like want or need to do all those things? Cause yeah, you know, especially being creatives, like there's so many ideas that just pop up throughout the day and we're like, need to get on that, need to get on that, need to get on that. But it's like, you can only do so much.
And
totally. Also, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, you.
No, I was just going to say it's so frustrating. And I'm sure you guys can appreciate this too, is I'll carve out time to like be creative or create content one morning. And then that morning comes and I'm like, I don't want to do that.
I'm fucking tired.
Yeah.
I'm tired and I don't want to be in front of the camera.
Yeah, like you with content creation especially, like I have to be in the mood kind of, which sounds so like wooey.
No, I get it. We get it.
It is the truth.
No, we totally 100%. You do have to be in the mood and in the right like headspace, you know, because if you're not doing all right mentally, like you don't want to get in front of a fucking camera and like pretend, you know, you want to be like genuine and authentic.
So and like a lot of people come to my house and they're like, why don't you ever like create content here? And it's because like I'm not like in the content creating headspace to create content here. Like what we do is we book out studios and then we just like bring everything that we need to shoot and then shoot it there. And that like allows us to have a really healthy like work-life separation because it's like we're going into the office, you know?
Totally.
And that's like been the best thing, but I really should be using my house more.
Yeah, you really should. It's so pretty. Go ahead.
I loved what your therapist said about like just bringing it back to like, do you really want to do all those things? Because especially as creatives, again, we do have all of these ideas. And I feel like there's this like line between balancing ambition and also like living in the present and, you know, like really just enjoying life. You know, like we don't always have to be creating content and like, you know, living for others when like this present moment is so like, you know, it's fleeting. And I feel like we can like live in the future so much and be like, oh, I need to be doing this and be doing that and building, you know, wealth for myself.
Or
but, like, there's so much life to be lived right now.
Or to be in the beautiful moment and be like, oh, I need to vlog this for YouTube and I should make a TikTok out of it and I want to get a picture for my feed and I want to make a reel too. It's like there's definitely a hard balance there.
I think like what you mentioned about like separating it and like designating a day. I also do that for my Instagram content. Like I batch shoot things because like I don't want to, I do want to be present when I'm like out to dinner with friends or like, you know, with my child. Like I can't be like thinking about creating content all the time. So kind of like creating boundaries and treating influencing and creating content like a 9 to 5, like designating the time to do it is really important.
Yeah, we don't have that structure given to us. So it's like, it's really important for us to build out that structure for ourselves. Something I do and Jess does sometimes every week is we do no social Sundays. And we just, so we know we at least have one day a week to not feel obligated to capture things and not be, you know, lost in the present moment by looking at other people's lives on a feed. It's just one day a week.
I know. I'm like, I find myself sometimes looking at people's Instagram content on a Sunday and their Sunday looks way more aesthetically pleasing than mine. And I'm like, but I'm doing that, looking at them doing that. So why don't I just go do what I'm doing?
It can be as beautiful as it is, you know, it definitely can be toxic. And it's so important. I want to encourage our listeners to always like know your boundaries with social media and just this internet world because the app's jobs are to keep you on. So you have to advocate for yourself and make sure you're also living your real life.
Mm-hmm.
So true.
Yeah, like listen to TikTok when it says, hold up, you've been scrolling too long.
Don't scroll past him.
I'd be like, get the fuck out of here. I'm like...
So good. I feel like we covered so much.
Of course, we could keep you here forever.
Literally forever.
Oh, this was great. This was like really helpful. I really like talking to you guys too about like content and all of that. It's like really nice to talk to other creators and like businesswomen. It's really nice.
It's so nice. Like, yeah, it's so good. And I definitely want to connect with you on social and stay in touch and be friends in real life. You're based in New York.
Yep, based in New York. I would love to come down, like to leave at some point, but I don't know if that's going to be happening anytime soon.
I'd love to leave at some point.
You got to get some sunshine.
I really could use that because you guys are down in Miami, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But we were literally just saying yesterday that we need to plan a New York trip. So
let me know if you do. I would love to grab coffee or something.
100%.
I'm down in Tribeca, so let me know.
We absolutely will. We do have 2 last questions. They can be as short or as long as you want, but we ask this to every guest to wrap up the episode. So the first question being, what is the best piece of advice you've ever received? And it could be like, you know, a mantra that you keep with you or you say to yourself, whatever you want.
Oh, man.
I know. It's such a hard question.
What's yours? What would yours be?
I mean, it changes, you know, from time to time. But mine that I have been carrying with me lately is just that growth happens outside of the comfort zone. And that's just always, you know, whenever I'm feeling a little uncomfy or, you know, life's putting me through something difficult. It's just, there's a whole other world waiting for me on the other side.
Yeah,
totally. I think like whenever like something that's been coming up for me, but it's more so because I have so many ideas and things that I want to do. And someone said to me the other day, like, will you regret if you didn't do it? I was talking about a project and something I really wanted to do. And I was like, I don't know. Maybe it's better if I don't. And she was like, will you regret if you don't? And then now I've been saying that so much whenever I like want to bail on something or like don't want to put in the work in that moment or whatever it is, especially something that has like a longer lead time. I feel like I'm someone like, I want to do it now, and I want it to be done and I want to check it off my list.
Right.
Not everything is like that. Not every project is like that. And someone said that to me a couple of weeks ago and I was like, that is relevant. And I find myself asking myself that a lot.
I love
that's
that.
really, really good. I love that.
Yeah. We haven't heard something like that yet. And I mean,
it's good.
In a lot of episodes. And I love that.
Totally.
In 115 episodes. Yes. All right, good.
And their next question is, what is your best biz pro tip? So this could be something as simple as like an app that you use religiously for work or, you know, like a time management skill or anything like that that has just been like really pertinent to your business.
Like a hack.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, I don't know if it's a hack. It's pretty basic, but what's so important for me is like, I use the notes app on my phone like crazy. And I have a to-do list on there, but I also have just a dump. I call it a dump. Any idea, any thought, anything that like feels like a loose end. Same with like an idea for content. Like I just always have this crazy mess of a notes app, like that one note, and I have it pinned at the top so that whenever I think of something, it just goes into the dump and I revisit that pretty regularly because there's just such a mosh bosh of things, but I make sure actually not to organize it because it's not a place for that. Like it's a dump for a reason. So, and then I eventually bring it up to my to-do list and figure out what the action items are. But I feel like that really helps me.
I love that.
So
I didn't know that you
solid.
could pin stuff either. So this is,
Yes.
that's the hack for me.
So I have my to-do, my dump, and then I also have my daily notes. I keep all of my notes from every call in one note doc. So it's always in one place, which I really like.
Love that.
So good. It's funny because I actually saw a TikTok a few days ago about like, I bet you're not utilizing the notes app the way you could be. And then this girl just had like freaking, it was like so built out. Yeah.
Wow. We've been sleeping on it.
I know.
Would you look at that?
Thank you so much. This is honestly has been an honor, such a joy to connect with you. If our audience wants to find you and follow you and support everything you have going on, where can they do that at?
Yeah, you can find me at Emily DiDonato on Instagram and TikTok, I believe, and then just at Covey on Instagram and TikTok as well. Come say hello, or cubbyskin.com. If you'd like to DM me, I try to answer all of them when I can. So come say hi.
Yay,
amazing. Thank you so much. Guys, if you liked this episode, please take a screenshot, tag us, tag Emily, let her know that you loved her episode, and we will see you here next week.
Bye, guys.